Yes, 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 yes. The waiver wire is that important, guys. And the Philadelphia Eagles are not done. I feel like they still want to upgrade this roster, and we're talking about the running back position. I understand we're going to talk about at the end of this video, we're going to talk about what would make more sense. But as of right now, the Eagles might want to upgrade. The Eagles might want to change this running back room a little bit, because I think we're all trying to figure out right now, like, what are they doing in the first half that's really pissing us off? And that is they're not running the ball with Miles Sanders enough. Boston Scott shouldn't even have a roster spot because they're barely doing anything with him. And Kenneth Gainwell gets he's in the passing game a little bit, but barely gets any runs either. So Eagles need to fix this. They've been very pass heavy the past few weeks, and want to talk about a new player off the waiver wire, which makes a lot of sense. Let's get into it.
Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
So, unfortunately, and look, it's not unfortunately, but the roster moves for the Philadelphia Eagles, and this was kind of an eye-opener, and I think with Auden Tate, they released one player off, Jared Williams off IR, so he was already hurt, and they released Auden Tate. This is the second time they've released him off the practice squad, so them releasing him off the practice squad is opening a roster spot for the practice squad to be ready to acquire this player and to elevate him to the active roster. Would make a lot of sense. And no other than Darrell Henderson from the Rams. 3+ seasons with the Rams, drafted in 2019 from Memphis. I was a big fan of him coming out in that draft. But, I was happy with Miles Sanders, obviously, with the second-round pick, which was great. So as of right now at the Rams, since I haven't been watching them, I know they've been complete dog water. Leads the Rams in rushing yards, 283 yards, scoring 3 touchdowns, 70 carries, 4 yards per attempt. Okay, it seems like Darrell Henderson's very happy about leaving the Rams as of right now. Seems like he's happy. What could have gone wrong? What could have happened? Well, if you guys remember, Cam Akers, another running back from the Rams, wanted to get traded. He requested a trade, and I think they're trying to keep Cam Akers with the Rams right now. They're trying to keep him for a while. They might give him a new contract after this year because at this point, they got no draft picks. They're going to have to restructure a lot of contracts, and who knows what that cap and what those draft picks are looking like. And I know they've given up, they pretty much sold their soul to win a Super Bowl, and that's just the way it's been. And, definitely a hangover this year. So Cam Akers, I think they want him to stay. And I think it tells because the Saints game they just played and lost to the Saints. Okay, Henderson only had 2 carries. Cam Akers had 14. So they've been trying to, probably write Darrell Henderson off of this offense. And, obviously he has to get through waivers. The Eagles are top 6, top 7 on the waiver wire. I forgot where they are specifically, but they're very early on the waiver wire, which is a good thing. So the Eagles will always pick him up. He's a hard runner and, can get the job done. Can get the ball out of the backfield. Can do all you want him to do. But this means if you acquire him or get him off waivers, you're going to have to release somebody. Obviously, you signed Darrell Henderson to the practice squad, and then you're going to have to put someone else to the practice squad or something. I don't know if it's going to be Boston Scott or something like that. I don't know, because other than what Boston Scott's doing, they put him on kick returns. Okay, and that was pretty much it. I mean, that's all I've seen. I have seen nothing from Boston Scott, not much. And I understand he could play, but they just don't use him. Gainwell, they get him in the passing game a little bit, not enough. What they do with him rushing wise. And Miles Sanders, the past few games, they don't rush with him enough. Having only 13 carries is not enough. Okay, 13 carries is not enough for the last game that we played. The Texans game, the Washington game, only had 6 yards at the half. The Texans game, he only had 16 yards at the half. It's just not enough. So I don't know if the Eagles are I don't know what they're doing with Miles. I don't know if they're saving him for the playoffs. So I don't know what the stupidity is in not running him in the first half, because this team has been very pass happy in the first half of a lot of games. And you pass a little too much, teams are going to know that you're doing it, and, they dial up blitzes and turnovers happen, and a lot of mistakes happen. I think that's been hopefully one of the top things that they do fix going into the rest of these games this year, because it's no joke. You have got to balance this offense out a little bit. Miles Sanders is a workhorse, and that's how you should be treating him. Okay, so Darrell Henderson would be a perfect acquisition for the Eagles if they pick him up off the waiver wire. Now, if they get rumors that he gets through the waiver wire, he unscathed. No one picks him up. He becomes a free agent, and then he makes the choice of where he wants to go. Because really, as of right now, he's got no choice until a team doesn't pick him up after the waiver wire, and he becomes a free agent. So we'll see what happens with that. But if you want to make things easier and not go through all this mumbo jumbo, okay, I've been talking about this for a while. And like I said, the easiest solution to this whole thing, get Trey Sermon on the field. I mean, as of right now, just get him on the field. I mean, the Eagles were trying to trade for Trey Sermon off the 49ers. And then, by the love of God, okay, he was off, they released him off waivers. The Eagles picked him up, and I was like, holy crap, they didn't have to give up draft capital. It was a big win for Howie, just acquiring him off waivers, and then nothing. They rushed him twice in that Jaguars game, and that was pretty much it. And there were two good runs. One was up the middle for a face mask. He reminds me of Jay Ajayi in so many ways. Physical runner, and that would be the easiest thing for me to do. The problem right now is that signing Henderson is probably better just because he's played a lot. In the three plus seasons, Sermon has barely played at all. He's practicing, but how far does practice get you without game time reps? Okay, if you're going to start Sermon, you got to do it now. You can't wait till the end of the year. You can't wait until the playoffs. You can't just start him fresh late in the season because God forbid he makes a mistake, fumbles the football. God forbid. You can't wait that long to start him later on. If you're going to get somebody, then go get him. Easiest for me, if I was to make this decision, start Trey Sermon next week. Or not start him, but put him on the active roster next week. I don't know. Boston Scott, they're not doing enough with him. Or they don't know how to use him. I mean, I was already surprised enough that Miles Sanders went for a deep pass, last week. I was shocked because they got the PI call on him. The last time he went out for a pass downfield like that on a go route or whatever it was, the last time they did that was his rookie year. And I felt like Doug valued Miles a lot more. And I think Nick has done a good job with Miles. But I would love to get Miles in the passing game. There's no doubt because I think he's a dual threat back that can do everything, but they just don't do it. Okay, so if you're going to start somebody right now and you want to, get this train moving, you're going to have to sacrifice one of those running backs unless they're going to, put a player to practice squad, another player off the defense. I really can't think of a player to put on. I can't really think of a player to put back on the practice squad right now. Yeah, you got to be careful with that too. You want to put a good player. You're not going to put a good player there, but you got to be careful who you put there because God knows if you put him on practice squad, someone's going to claim him off the practice squad, and that's it. You lose that player, and you kind of mess yourself up. So if you're going to have to do something here, if Nick – and look, I know Boston Scott could play. We've seen him play. I understand that. But if they're not going to use him or they have no plans for him and he's just going to get 1 to 3 carries a game, that there's just no point. Plus, at the end of the day, I would like to see Jalen Hurts not get hurt not get hit as much. And I know he's doing it. These mobile quarterbacks, they can only last so long doing this. And Hurts is very good at it. Hurts is what makes the run game work. Okay, and that's just what it is. But you want to, instead of doing a QB sneak all the time, instead of read option and Hurts is either going to hand it off or keep it for himself, and he's done that. And obviously that was the way, we used Hurts' legs at the end of the game last week, and that's how we won that game. We put all into Jalen Hurts' hands, and he got it done. So kudos to him, and has done a fantastic job in this 2022 season. But just imagine adding a bruiser back, or at least a big back that could run real hard through the hole and get it done, and take some more pressure off Hurts where he doesn't have to really take hits every single game. It would be fantastic. You have the offensive line to do it, not just for now, but for a long time. Who knows? Henderson might be a future piece for us if they don't use Trey Sermon. So I feel like I don't even know if the Eagles have been interested. I know they've been interested in running backs. I haven't seen them interested in a bruiser back yet or a bigger back yet. Okay, that's the whole thing. Like McCaffrey was, they try to go after McCaffrey. Okay, they try to go after him, but unfortunately, they knew they just threw a pick out there, a 4th or a 5th rounder, whatever it was. They gave up a 4th rounder for Robert Quinn. So when Kareem Hunt was available and some of these other players were available, they didn't want to give up a 3rd round pick. I wasn't going to give up a 3rd round pick for a rental this year. It's just not going to happen. A 4th rounder, I could deal with it. A 3rd rounder, definitely not. You're not giving away a 2nd. You're not giving away those 2 first or one of those 2 first round picks. Maybe a 24 mid rounder, I think is, if you want to give a pick for 24, it would make more sense. So we'll see what happens with Darrell Henderson, coming off of waivers, if he gets picked up off waivers, or if he gets through waivers, becomes a free agent, because the Eagles will know, they get the rumors of what happens with the waiver wire, and that teams are not picking players up, and they could pick them up. So who knows at this point what they're going to do. But like I said, the easiest thing to do is start Trey Sermon now. But Darrell Henderson is definitely a huge upgrade and a lot of playing time. And what you have over Henderson to Trey Sermon is you have a guy that has a lot of starting experience. I'm not saying that Trey Sermon doesn't, but as of right now, Trey Sermon hasn't played much football. Game time, like nothing, no game time snaps or anything. So that's what you have with Darrell Henderson coming here with a lot of experience and a lot of playing time this year as of right now. So I think as a number 3, he would be perfect. I think he would definitely take pressure off Jalen Hurts. I think he can get those tough chunk yards for us. I think he could do a lot. So want to know in the comment section below what you guys think about Darrell Henderson. Would you get him off waivers? Do you think he's a future piece? Or do you think as of right now, just start Trey Sermon, get this ball rolling with him, get some snaps under this guy's belt before you screw yourself up later on? And, God knows, you never know. You can't just wait and wait and wait. If you have a plan for him, you start him. If you don't, go get somebody that has a lot of that's already had a lot of snaps this year, and Darrell Henderson has done it. And looking for a new team, gets off waivers, free agent, we'll have some, we'll try to upgrade it. So, but they're going to have to release somebody. And I think it's going to be one of those running backs. I don't think Gainwell, it will be Boston Scott, because Boston Scott's been the lesser of the running backs. And like I said, guys, I know Boston Scott could play, but how Nick has been, I almost said Doug, how Nick has been using him, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. I don't like how he's used all these running backs. As of late, the past few games have been pretty bad, especially the first half. Miles Sanders didn't get a snap until the end of the third quarter. Did it 2 games in a row, not getting a ball in the second half till the end of the third quarter. Really pissed me off. So let me know in the comment section below about this move, and we'll see you on the next one. SHAKESQUAD up, follow side. Peace out, guys. Peace.